Hi, Little Gifts community. This is a message for the people that attended the, parenting circle at Kipna in Mushaf. It was a wonderful, wonderful day, and I appreciate all your fantastic energy. I'm going to try to do this before it's bedtime. It's 10:33 right now, and I have a goal to get to bed by 11:15 for my self-care. So let's see how it works out. This is a follow-up also to the last blog post I had about a beautifully feeling child saying goodbye. And I wanted to talk about the reason why I said beautifully feeling child, because, or boy, a lot of times we talk about big emotions in a negative way, which I've talked about, tantrums, and this is all, again, coming from RIE, the Resources for Infant Educators, along with a lot of what Montessori principles are about respecting the child and following the child. But basically, if we reframe the picture of the emotion, so we're saying that they're overly emotional, or we're saying that they're crying as if it's such a bad thing, then we don't get a full picture of the humanity of the emotion. So I very intentionally chose beautifully feeling. Not only was it a positive, it's another way to talk about children that are exceptionally sensing and feeling human beings. So they will have a lot more times difficult time adjusting to transitions. And I'm going to be looking a little bit down because I have some notes today because it's a lot to cover. I had 10 pages written, so hopefully I decided I would do this as a video instead, and I've narrowed it down to about 4 pages. So do your research. The number one thing that can help a child to adjust is by your trusting the location that you're putting him in or her in. So if you do your research and if you talk to the teachers and you decide that this is the place I want to go and you've narrowed it down, of course I can't imagine a better place than Kipna Mushaf and Kipna Batin. Beautiful, beautiful locations with wonderful people leading. Shout out to Sophia and Farah for all the hard work that you're doing and all the teachers and just a beautiful environment. I was really touched by it, and thank you for letting me come in and show respectful parenting practices. So if you're comfortable with it, then you will talk about it in a way that conveys comfort. So make sure that you're conscious of what you're saying in front of your child. The second part is to allow emotions, and we talked a lot about this. So allowing emotions is a very simple step, but it is very hard for some people, because when you see your child melting down, you hear them crying, we have a visceral reaction inside. Our stomach maybe hurts, or we start to feel as if, we're giving a vaccine to the child, right? A lot of times we can feel their pain, we get very empathetic, and this is part of that interbrain connection we talked about. So how can we allow emotions and not let that affect us too much, but still accept whatever comes? For me, I was a little bit different from my child. I'm not as feeling, I'm more about experiences. So for me, I was thinking more in the cognitive plane of you're going to be learning things, and I didn't say that to him, but for me it felt better than it did for him. So I was really calm, and I was really excited about having some time to myself, to be honest, and hoping that he would love, the nursery. But he was just not ready. He just wasn't there yet. So that leads us to really try to see and value the emotions in your very feeling child. This is a very hard step, because for some of us it's very uncomfortable to confront the fact that maybe we're not comfortable with emotions, or to confront the fact that we're very different from our children. And this is part of the identity step, like separating your identity from your child, or even separating the child's identity from another caregiver. So some people, they want to associate the child with the dad or the mom, and maybe they have similar tendencies, but really seeing them for who they are, and in that moment really allowing them to have that feeling, being accepting of that feeling, and then really seeing the value of it. What are the good things that come with being this way? So I had to reframe in my mind. I had to think about all the beauty that comes with being so feeling. And of course, there's pro-social skills. So you're talking about, in Self-Reg by Dr. Shankar, pro-social skills, we're talking about being able to be with others in group environments, to be giving, to be empathetic, altruistic, all those things that children are really capable of. But a lot of times we limit because we force them to do things like forcing sharing, which is a whole nother topic. So moving on. So this is another step, sorting out your feelings from your child's and other caregivers. So sometimes we'll let our feelings for the teacher, like perceived anger or whatever, kind of cloud everything. So really sorting through what we think about everyone in the environment is very helpful, and really sorting through what we think about our child and ourselves and what emotions are really going on. So not to get confused. For the child's sake, we need to be very clear on where we're coming from, because we want to illustrate that to him. We want to say that to him. Yeah, you're having a really hard time. I can see that. Be very factual with a child. The next step is accepting suffering for myself and my child. This is very difficult. So if I accept suffering, that means I acknowledge the value in not feeling good. Everyone wants happiness and roses for their children, but in order to get to that resiliency step and the success that all of us are really thinking about in terms of, I want my child to function in his life and be able to be resilient, and I want my child to be able to have a job and be able to have academic success and be able to have relationships. All those things require failure. So being able to accept that suffering and failure and all those things are good and they're necessary, and that all you need to do is be there for your child as he's going through this. So changing your mindset, adopt an attitude of gratitude. So I'm grateful for having a child who can teach me how to feel more. I'm grateful for having this wonderful, empathetic creature that is so different from me in this world, who is able to take care of others and think about others in a different way. So I'm grateful for the fact that he's able to show his attachment to me by being able to break down in front of me. That's a true gift, and that is something that we take for granted in society, because we look at all the positive kind of things, like, oh, he's done this for me, and he's done this thing, isn't he? I'm proud of you, and aren't you wonderful? But basically, the core of them is that emotional piece, and valuing that. We hold this in our hands. It's such a fragile thing, and to value that really and try to understand that, I think is a true gift. And I think it takes a lot of time because we're scared of that core emotion. So embrace his feelings. This is, I think, the hardest thing. Really, not just, not looking forward to, then you're allowing, but now you're embracing. It's so wonderful for you to have feelings. Whatever feelings you're having are normal. Whatever feelings you're having are going to help you. Whatever feelings you're having are going to go away if you're allowed to feel them. So again, I go back to the mantra, a feeling fully felt is fleeting. Really think about that. When it comes to a child, if you allow him to feel his anger or frustration or sadness or whatever, just like you, it's not going to last forever. But if you don't allow that to be felt, and you push it aside, or you say it shouldn't happen, or you shame a child for being a human, then what are the repercussions later in life? So if I want to respectfully guide my child through this process of transition, how can I do that? How can I help him? It's not to take away his emotions. That's one of the beautiful things about these children. They have such beautiful, overflowing emotions, and there's so many good positive things that come out of it. We don't want to think about ourselves. We want to think about our child and how are we going to help him or her through this moment. And that's by not telling them that it's going to be wonderful, not telling them that, they'll do things that they're not going to do, or make friends that they might not make friends. They're very young when they go into nursery and things like that. They're not thinking about those things. They're thinking about coloring or playing with cars. If you know for a fact what they're going to do, they're going to have circle time, they're going to eat at this time, walk them through those steps and provide a visual, if you can, of what goes on during the day if they really have a hard time with transitions. And you'll be able to tell those children that have a hard time with transitions, and then you'll gradually start to develop, what can I do? But here's the key. In parenting education, as I said, I'm a coach. Parenting education is a telling paradigm. Do this, do that. When you go through a coaching process that opens up your mind and your heart to all the good that's going on, it's your creativity that's going to flow, and you're going to find the way to make everything better. It won't be Amanda's way. And it won't be necessarily Janet Lansbury's way, although you can try things out. It's going to be the way that fits with your unique family. So I hope this was helpful. I really look forward to seeing you all again. I think the topic might be screens. I'm not sure, but I think that's a good segue for the next talk. And please take care. I hope this was of benefit to you. And good luck, Mama, with your beautifully feeling daughter. I hope it goes very well. Bye.